Welcome, Sales Heroes, to the next Sales Heroes podcast, where we empower women in sales to take bold action and achieve their dreams. I am Angie.
And I'm LaDonna. Today, we're diving into a crucial topic for all sales professionals, the power of taking action and understanding the law of averages. Let's get started.
I know this is a super, super exciting one, LaDonna. We always get together and we have a lot of fun just talking about things in sales. It's kind of like a sounding board for us, kind of like cheap, free therapy to kind of talk about our work. But this one really hit home with me because of a lot of things in my past with self-doubt and confidence issues. So I'm super, super jazzed to kind of jump in, break down the law of averages. So let's just start at the top. Let's explain to our heroes, someone that is new to sales, what is the law of averages? Like, how do we define that?
Yeah, the law of averages, Angie, is a principle that states the more times you try, the more likely you are to succeed. In sales, it means the more calls that you make, the more presentations you make, the more chances you have to close deals. It's about playing the numbers game. And so even if you don't think about it transactionally, but the more people you're in front of, like I posted so many events this last couple months and I'm exhausted from it, but I'm fueled by it because it gives me the ability to be next to and in front of people doing fun things that are potentially clients of mine. So when we say the law of numbers, and it doesn't mean the law of numbers of sales calls necessarily, it means how much time, how many people are you in front of, even if that's for personal reasons or to do something fun. Like we did a summer solstice event last night. It's our second annual. We made flower crowns. It was it was so fun, and it's beautiful and it was relaxing. So we had 10 people from multiple design firms represented, and it wasn't a place where we were selling to anyone. We were enjoying our time together. We were having fun. People were having some drinks if they wanted that. There was yummy appetizers, and we made these beautiful flower crowns. And so that is a piece of that playing the numbers game, but in a really healthy way, because we're doing fun things that we love to do. So you can incorporate it in a way that's super fun.
I love that. It's interesting because I love that we're in different verticals, because you go do some really fun things. If I went into a conference room for cybersecurity and asked a bunch of engineers, like, hey, who's down for a summer solstice event? We're going to make flower crown. They would literally like boot me or laugh me out of the room. I mean, there's probably some that might take the bait on that, but I totally get it. That is really exciting. I agree with you. It literally is like casting a very wide net for people, right? Not every attempt is going to be a success, but each one gets you closer and closer to a win. And the key is to just keep showing up even when it's tough. So, I'm living in this season right now. You and I, we love this podcast because we don't flip around things. We kind of share the good, the bad, the ugly. That's the whole goal of this. And in sales, there can be a lot of ugly with a lot of good. And so I'm actually sitting in this season right now. So this is why this is super relevant. I am in a hunting role at work, right? Where I'm just going at to find business, find business, find business. It's not really coming to me. And when you have to do all those tedious tasks, research companies, find the contacts, connect with them on LinkedIn, talk to strangers, go to events, all those things, it can be super draining. It can be really challenging. So sometimes it'll work and I get successful, and sometimes it doesn't, but I have to just keep powering through that. And so that's kind of what we're talking about when we're talking about the averages.
Yeah, and speaking of showing up, taking action is fundamental. And so many people are challenged by that. I watch a lack of inaction often. And, I'm even generally that's not something that is challenging for me, but I am having some moments where taking action is proving to be a little bit more challenging right now, because I have multiple things that I'm wanting to embrace learning and doing. And so where is the right place to do that? And then I start slowing myself down with too much thought around it, right? So Angie, why do you think so many people hesitate to take action, especially maybe when they're new, they're scared, or I'm not new in sales, and there's no fear really around my slowing down and taking action right now. Some of it is practicality, the amount of time I have in a week, and then really wanting to vet where my time is going because I don't have enough time to allocate to all of the things that I'm excited about right now.
Yeah.
So why do you think people are challenged with taking action?
I think just the people I talk to, so this is my opinion only, I think it's the fear of failure. I think that's honestly the number one thing, whether it's failure with work, personal, professional, it doesn't matter. People worry so much about, myself included, about rejection and making a mistake that it definitely can cause an ability to have inaction if we're so hung up on those other things. And so with the inaction, you're kind of guaranteed to fail. And I know Gary Vee talks about that a lot too. So every action that we do take, even if it doesn't go as perfectly planned, it's still a step forward. And I'm literally annoyingly trying to always do power of positivity in my life. So this is so important to me, right? I'm going to say that again. Every action that you do take, even if it does not go as planned, is still going to be a step forward for you. And I think that's the first key. The second one I see is also a lack of confidence. So our fear of failure leads to lack of confidence. And so learning to believe in ourselves, even when we're new at something, at one point or another, we've all been new at what we're doing. It can really be a remarkable trait to be able to overcome that. So only ourselves, right? Like we can only know what our best self looks like. I only know how good I work. No one else really knows my best work ethic. Only I really know that. And so starting to bet on yourself and believe in yourself, I think that's where the confidence and the failure comes in, is I think the leading part of that.
Absolutely. I love that a lot. I love like that leaning on yourself. I mean, we hit so many upper limits or lids. People call it lids, right? And oftentimes that's because it's a lack of believing in yourself. We have some imposter syndrome. We don't have the confidence. We don't show up. We don't take the action. Each step, each action builds your experience and confidence. It's about embracing the process and learning from every interaction. I mean, you can take action on something. We are all going to fail forward at some point, right? I mean, I've done so many different things in my life. I've tried new things. I not all of those things are things that I embrace and take on and take with me, but I learn from those things. And then I have a different level of confidence around that, a different ability to set boundaries. So really, it's really important to really just put the law of numbers into play for yourself to build your confidence.
Oh, absolutely. And I think we don't talk about confidence enough. There's a lot of books on it. You and I have done a lot of work in our decades of lifetime around confidence, because that was something back in the day we both really, really struggled with personally and professionally. So let's talk about building confidence. How can taking more actions help someone who is struggling with self-doubt? I mean, I learned from you, so you're kind of my self-doubt upper limit guru.
I love that. Thank you for that. My daughter Mariah and I taught a lot on that for a number of years, on consistency, confidence, and clarity. When you have strong clarity in your life, it's easier to show up with confidence. And when you're consistently doing the actions around, like I talked to my girlfriend Heather this week, and she had a challenge in her life that was pretty devastating, but she still went to work because that's where she wanted to be. And she and I were having a conversation about some kind of mental barriers I'm facing right now. And she's like, ultimately, all we have to do is show up. The more we show up, the more,
Right.
and I know that, but sometimes there's some paralysis that happens, right? So confidence is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. By taking consistent actions, you gather small wins along the way. And those wins, no matter how small, build your confidence over time. So,
Right.
showing up, just see your people, see your clients, find new clients to go see, do something fun, show up at an industry event. Like I have another event tonight, and I'm not a super nighttime social person. I don't drink any longer. I haven't for 10 years, but I'm going, and it will be very fun. And I'm dressing up 80s themed, but it's like, that's a piece of me being a part of the industry that I'm selling to and supporting their goals and dreams in their organizations. And so it's important for me to be there, even on the days that I don't necessarily want to show up.
Yeah, you're not billing 100%. You're absolutely right. It's all about creating a habit and creating that habit of action. I mean, they say it takes 7 days, right, for that a habit to kind of stay with you. And I think creating that habit of action is so important. We have to push through the fear and take those steps one step at a time, showing up one step at a time, before we really start seeing the results. And that's the most important thing. When those results reinforce your beliefs in your abilities, that's when you're really going to see a shift in the energy and the law of averages, so to speak.
Yeah, totally. Showing up when you're scared is really tough. Angie, you share a personal story about a time that you showed up despite your fears. We'd love to
Oh
hear
my
that. I feel
gosh.
like it's so important to talk about. I mean, we're real people. We all had real
Yeah.
experiences, right?
Yeah, it's interesting because in sales, you have a lot of times where you are very fearful, but I think the biggest fear for me is probably one of the very, very first in-person presentations I did, new to the role, completely uneducated with cybersecurity, and you're thrown into a conference room of literally a boardroom of men, right? I'm a woman in tech, which is very rare. And so it's very intimidating. And not having the confidence and things like that is a little scary. So I was absolutely terrified, first of all, that I was even doing an in person, like worst case 10-page presentation in front of people on a topic I barely knew. And then despite all that, women, it's funny the things we think about. I had a wrinkle on the thigh of my dress pants from driving in the office that day. And in my mind, I was like, I got to get this wrinkle out. Like, they're going to see I'm standing in front of them. My mind is going on this wrinkle, stuck on this wrinkle on my upper thigh where my pants are, right, when I drove in. And so I couldn't even mentally like breathe through all the things I do now, like breathe 5 times, like get ready for the meeting. I was terrified. I was like shaking, thought I was going to throw up, all the things, but I couldn't get this stupid wrinkle out of my head. So I wasn't even focused on how I was going to intro myself. So by the time I actually got in there, took a deep breath, kind of put some water on my wrinkle to kind of smooth it out a little bit, it's where I really started just honing my focus in and started knowing I was really insecure, but I just went, you're here. Like you walked in the door, you signed in at their office reception. Like you're showing up, like you already checked the box. So whatever happens now is what's going to happen. So I think at that point, I just walked in, shook all of these gentlemen's hands very firmly. My father always taught me that, look them straight in the eye, old school, straight in the eye. Nice to meet you, Bob. And I just kind of said, okay, here we go. And so at that point, letting my wrinkle in my pants out of my mind, focusing on the task at hand and showing up. I didn't have all the answers. I didn't answer all their questions, but I was able to make them laugh through the presentation and bring some light and energy to the room, which was really, really helpful. And through that, it actually gave me the confidence to go, okay, I showed up. I walked out. I was like, okay, that wasn't so bad. My first one, like they didn't boo me out of the room or stare at me, aimlessly. And I followed up and I ended up winning that deal. And that was the confidence
Amazing.
of like, you did it, right? When just showing up, just being there. So you are absolutely spot on. Heather is spot on. Showing up is literally, they always say that showing up is half the battle. I think it's more than half the battle, right? And then what you do after showing up and how you can project yourself out to the people around you. If you're not feeling it, just breathe through it, put a smile on your face of being genuine, and just do your best. And that's all that we really can do on that one.
It's so true. That's so powerful. Congrats on getting that deal. And also, yes, on showing up, because half the time we like hold ourselves back and don't go do what we need to be doing that is like related to the numbers of moving things forward.
Yeah.
We get caught up in more inaction because we get more fear-based, right? It's a reminder that courage isn't the absence of fear. Fear can be there. I mean, I still have fear in my job. There's times when I'm seeing a big client and I may only have one time to see them ever in my entire career. And those are fear-laden opportunities, right? They can create some anxiety, but it's taking action despite, because if you never show up and you never go see that person, then there's never a chance to win with that person and possibly be able to help them with what you have to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we also live in a very fear society, right? Everything is about protecting yourself from the sun, from the bugs, from, deodorant is from odor. Like everything is about protecting yourself in this fear of I'm going to get, they're going to see this side of me. And I just think that that's something in society that we should be flipping the script on and recognizing that it's okay to be afraid of something. It definitely is. But letting it consume you, in my opinion, is something that is a waste of energy and time and mindset that is unnecessary. And we individually ourselves have the ability to flip that script. So learning how to do methods, which I know we have this amazing 21-day workbook coming out, but learning how to do these amazing methods that can help flip your script to get away from that fear-based mentality, that is, I think, where we need to, let's talk about mental health. Let's talk about flipping the script on that for sure. So that said, we've kind of talked about all of what it is and kind of the strategies around that, but let's talk about some tips. You and I always love to share all the stuff that's worked for us and what we hope works for the people around us. So let's share some practical tips and strategies that we could recommend for them to put more action into their sales career.
Yeah, first would be set achievable goals, break them down into small steps so they don't feel overwhelming. Second would be create a routine that incorporates daily actions toward those goals. And third would be find an accountability partner to keep you on track. So set clear goals. SMART goals are great. If you don't know about those, Google it, SMART goals. There's so much information on that, right? So setting clear, achievable goals. Second, creating a routine that incorporates daily actions toward meeting those goals. And then third would be accountability partner.
Yeah, that's awesome. Those three are really good ones that we do. I think the only one that I would add to that is tracking your progress. Seeing how far you've come. Yeah. Seeing how far you've come can be incredibly moving. And I know we've talked about this on some podcasts before, and everyone's like, I don't know how to track. Honestly, I have a TikTok out there where I put sticky notes all over my bathroom wall when I was going through a season in my life to help me mentally get through that. This tracking your progress can be as simple as getting a sticky note and doing every time you make a phone call out, do a line, right? Like you're tallying things up. And then that way you can see in a week what exactly you've been doing. And it's okay to be scared on getting through some of these things, but using that energy to propel you forward, that's the goal, right? This is why we talk on SalesSheroes, is getting you guys to that next level. That's what we talk about this for ourselves too. Tracking your progress, as little or large that it may be, will really help propel you to that next one.
Yeah, totally. And celebrating small wins. I was going to share a bit about that, and I forgot to mention that in those three. Also, celebrate your small wins. Like, give yourself rewards that you like. Like, I love Carson Hot Springs. My little cup is right here. It reminds me about it all the time. It's like one of my favorite
plugs we give them. I'm waiting for some free Hot Springs.
I know, seriously.
When our fan base gets bigger, we can ask for some free stuff. That's the first thing. Maybe we should do a mastermind, and the very first location we do it at is Carson Hot Springs. Invite all of our SalesSheroes.
That would be so amazing. Rent the tubs. Okay.
So for the people listening to this episode, I know you're all over. We have people all over the country, but if you ever were to attend a mastermind for a couple days just to learn and excel and grow and network, would the Hot Springs be interesting to you? Like regroup? Like, I'm just curious now. I want them to we'll do a little poll on that. Hot Springs or no Hot Springs? Yeah.
Yeah, because what might even kind of be fun is the Tennyson Hot Springs. I haven't been there yet, but the ones that
oh yes.
Yeah, that's up that way. And you could rent I think they have 3 cabins now. We could rent all 3 cabins, and each cabin has their own individual springs. Anyway, yes. That might be fun.
Okay, just personal story here for our Sheroes out there. So LaDawn and I decided one day we're going to drive across the country. We had a mission at the end of it. That's for another podcast story. But we decided to drive across the country. We were like, how many hot springs can we see along the way? And so it's definitely something when you find your accountability partner, right? You don't always have to just talk about work.
Yeah.
Talking and letting yourself go and doing the things you like to do with the people that are safe and secure around you, that hold your stories themselves and sharing your pain and sharing your joy and give you that information of guidance and things like that. Yeah, do fun stuff. I think that's why our relationship is as strong as we are today, is because of all of the crazy adventures that we have done together, and we've roped our other girlfriends in doing together with us. I think that's really fun. So I know we kind of sidetracked on that, but I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, it
So,
is to give yourself fun things to do. Yeah, really.
yeah.
It is important. That's that celebrating. I mean, and it may be that you don't have finances to do big road trips or big trips, but like give yourself, if you love cupcakes and you find a special cupcake spot, or you have a special treat that you like, or you like a special kind of wine, you know, buy the bottle, put the bottle up and save it until you check off one of those goals. Give yourself a coffee, you know, like I love our coffee shop just down the road. So I'll give myself a treat on Fridays if I make it through the week strongly, that I walk myself down there in the morning before the day starts and I grab myself a cup of coffee. So really, in wrapping it up, remember the law of averages is on your side. The more you show up, the more likely you are to succeed. Taking action, even when you're scared, especially, not just even, especially when you're scared, is essential for building confidence and achieving our goals. And really, you know, oftentimes we're in these seasons of transition. I have some really key girlfriends. Angie is one of them. And all of my people right now are in a season of transition. Even my oldest daughter, like the conversations, it's not that anything, it is that some giant things are happening for each of us, but also just a season of feeling a bit like of unrest or uneasiness. And so, you know, give yourself grace and remember to take action despite those things, because I don't know what the reason for that is. I don't know that it's coincidental that all of us
it's global warming, because not only are you like, yeah, I think it's the shifting in what we've got going on with everything, because not only is it your group, and we talk about this too on our side conversations during the week, it is my family and friends as well. There are so many people that I know that are going through a change in their season of life right now. Some of it is good, some of it is not good, some of it is terrifying, and there's a lot of fear around that. So I think this podcast is super important to really, where we can diminish that fear and put our confidence back on ourselves, believe in our choices, believe in our faiths, and believe in our peers, right, that are guiding us. I mean, it's easy for me to call up and say, hey, I'm faced with X, Y, and Z. This is what I'd like to do, but what do you think? And then really trust those people. You don't have to do what they say, but you're just hearing another voice that speaks similarly to you to get over those fears. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't know what's going on with the world. I think it is a global warming energy shift. You know, they say that we've got less water coming and all the an alignment of the atmosphere. But I think the most important thing we want to tell you guys all the time is just keep pushing forward. That is so important for us. We walk the walk with you every day. We know pain and struggle every day like you do. We're not immune to that as well. And so for us, it's the same. We have the power to create our own success with the actions that we're taking. Absolutely.
Totally. Until next time, keep taking action, showing up, even when it's tough. You've got this.
Yes. Thank you guys for listening. Do not forget to subscribe to us, leave a review, share this out with other amazing women. Keep shining and selling.
And remember, every action you take brings you closer to your goals. Keep hustling and moving it out there, SalesSheroes.